The church was packed. Every seat filled. Cameras flashing. The choir humming softly. Amarachi stood at the altar in her ivory gown, holding David's hands. Her heart was full. After years of waiting, praying, crying, she had found a good man. A kind man. David owned 3 businesses. He loved God. He loved her. Today they would become one. Pastor Timothy stood before them, Bible open, microphone on. The entire room waited. Amarachi's mother dabbed tears. Her father smiled proudly. Friends recorded every second. The music swelled. The moment had come. But then Pastor Timothy raised his hand. The music stopped. The room went silent. He looked at Amarachi with sad eyes. "The Lord has revealed something to me," he said slowly. His voice filled the church. "This woman once had an abortion. She hid it from everyone, including her husband." Gasps exploded through the hall. Phones rose. Whispers spread like fire. Amarachi's knees buckled. "No," she whispered. "That's not true. It was an emergency. I almost died." But no one heard her. David stepped back. His face twisted with shock and shame. The altar felt like a cage. David stared at her. His eyes cold. His voice quiet. "Is it true?" he asked. Amarachi reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "It wasn't what you think," she begged. Tears poured down her face. "It was an ectopic pregnancy. I was bleeding. The doctor saved my life." But David shook his head. "If you had told me, it wouldn't have mattered," he said. "But you lied. You hid it. And now everyone knows before I did." His voice cracked. "This marriage can't stand on lies." He turned and walked away from the altar. The guests gasped again. Amarachi's mother fainted. Ushers rushed to catch her. Her father lowered his head in shame. The photographer kept clicking. Someone was live streaming. The choir didn't know whether to sing or run. Pastor Timothy closed his Bible. "I cannot bless a union built on deceit," he announced. "This ceremony is over." He stepped down from the altar and disappeared into his office. Amarachi stood alone in her wedding dress, mascara running, bouquet shaking in her hands. Outside, car doors slammed. People fled. The bride no one wanted to stand beside. By nightfall, Amarachi's phone was on fire. Messages flooded in. Angry, mocking, cruel. Old clients canceled contracts. Vendors demanded payment for the ruined reception. Friends stopped replying. Her business page was flooded with 1-star reviews. Someone posted a clip titled, "Bride Exposed at the Altar." Within hours, it had 50,000 views. By morning, 200,000. People she had never met were calling her a liar, a fraud, a disgrace. Anonymous messages filled her inbox. "You should be ashamed. God is punishing you. You don't deserve love." Amarachi sat on her apartment floor, still in her gown, phone vibrating non-stop. She wanted to scream. She wanted to explain. But who would listen? Even her own mother had fainted from the shame. Her father wouldn't look at her. Then the church's official page posted a statement. "We stand for purity and truth. No names mentioned, but let this be a lesson." The message was vague, but everyone knew who they meant. Amarachi turned off her phone and cried until her throat burned. Then her phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. 2 words, "Be careful." 3 days passed. Amarachi didn't leave her apartment. Boxes filled the corners. She was packing to disappear. No one visited except her father. He came at night, quietly, like he was ashamed to be seen. He didn't say much. Just sat beside her and held her hand. Before leaving, he placed an envelope on the table. Inside was her childhood church badge and a counseling card with Pastor Timothy's private number scrawled on the back. Amarachi stared at it. Why would her father give her this? She didn't understand. That night, rain pounded the window. She couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw David walking away. She saw the guests staring. She saw the pastor's raised hand. Her mother was still in bed, sedated. The doctor said it was stress. Amarachi felt like she was drowning. Then her phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. This time a full message. "He does this in the dark. Do not break. You are not the first. Keep fighting." Amarachi sat up. Her heart pounded. Who was this? And what did they know? The next morning, Amarachi's childhood friend Ifani arrived in a dusty pickup truck. He was a carpenter. Quiet. Honest. Strong hands, kind eyes. He knocked on her door and said, "Pack light. You're coming with me." Amarachi shook her head. "I'll ruin your business. People will talk." Ifani shrugged. "Let them talk." He loaded her 2 bags into the truck and drove her to his small workshop in Agba. It smelled like sawdust and fresh wood. Sunlight poured through the windows. It was simple, but it felt safe. "Stay as long as you need," he said. Amarachi tried to protest, but Ifani took her phone and locked it in a drawer. "No doom scrolling before noon," he said firmly. "You need to heal, not drown." For the first time in days, Amarachi felt herself breathe. She sat on a wooden bench and watched him work. His hands moved with care. Every cut, every joint, every piece of wood treated with respect. That evening, Ifani's phone buzzed. A message from someone named Chidera. "I work at the church media team. I have something you should hear." 2 days later, Chidera met them in a dusty back room where the church stored old equipment. She was young, nervous, looking over her shoulder every few seconds. "I could lose my job for this," she whispered. Amarachi and Ifani leaned closer. Chidera pulled out her laptop and played the wedding ceremony audio. At first it sounded normal. Music, voices. Then she fast-forwarded to a strange gap. "This part was edited out," she said. She clicked another file. A faint recording. A hot mic, Pastor Timothy's voice before the ceremony. "Say it clean. I will not be questioned." Amarachi's blood went cold. "He planned it?" she whispered. Chidera nodded. He knew what he was going to say hours before the so-called revelation. Ifani clenched his fists. "That man used God's name to destroy you." Chidera saved the file to a flash drive and handed it to Amarachi. "If the head usher finds out I leaked this, I'm done," she said. "But you deserve the truth." Amarachi held the drive tightly. It was small, but it was proof. Proof that the pastor lied. Proof that this was planned. She looked at Ifani. "What do we do now?" Amarachi needed more proof. The next step was the clinic. Mercy Life Clinic, where the emergency had happened 2 years ago. She walked in quietly, wearing sunglasses and a headscarf. The matron at the desk barely looked up. "I need my medical file," Amarachi said. The matron frowned. "We can't release that without proper authorization." Amarachi insisted. The matron refused. Voices rose. Then a cleaner mopping the floor whispered, "Check the old ledgers. Storage room. 3rd shelf." Amarachi waited until the matron stepped away. She slipped into the storage room. Dust covered everything. Old files stacked high. She found the ledger from 2 years ago. Her name was there. But something was wrong. 2 different inks. 2 different handwriting styles. The word abortion was written over emergency. Someone had changed it. Amarachi's hands shook. She took a photo with her phone. As she left, the cleaner pressed a folded paper into her hand. "They paid for that ink," she whispered. Outside, Amarachi opened the paper. It was a photocopy of the original entry. Clear. Emergency surgery. Ectopic pregnancy. Life-threatening. No abortion. Someone had rewritten her story. Amarachi stood outside David's office tower. Glass walls. Security scanning IDs. Her heart pounded. She hadn't seen him since the altar. She requested 5 minutes. The receptionist called upstairs. Finally, David came down. He looked tired. Angry. They stood in the lobby. People walked past staring. "I need you to listen," Amarachi said. "I have proof. The pastor lied. The clinic records were changed." David crossed his arms. "Why should I believe you now?" Amarachi's voice broke. "Because I loved you. I never lied to you. I had an emergency. I almost died. And someone used that to destroy me." David looked away. "If you want me to listen," he said quietly, "bring proof from the clinic and someone inside the church. Real proof. Not just words." Amarachi nodded. "I will." As she turned to leave, she felt eyes on her. She looked up. David's mother stood on the mezzanine watching. She pulled out her phone and made a call. Amarachi couldn't hear the words, but she saw the woman's lips move. "Tighten everything." Amarachi found a retired gynecologist in Surulere, Dr. Adeyemi. He had mentored the clinic's founder years ago. She showed him the photocopied ledger and the altered entry. He examined it carefully with a magnifying glass. His face darkened. "This was changed," he said. 2 inks. 2 hands. The dates don't match." He read the original entry. Ectopic pregnancy. Emergency surgery. This was not an abortion. This was a life-saving procedure. He wrote a formal affidavit on his letterhead, signed and stamped it. "This should hold in any court," he said. Then he looked at her seriously. "The clinic owner owes favors to Pastor Timothy. They funded his new church wing. Be careful." Amarachi took the affidavit and thanked him. As she stood to leave, Dr. Adeyemi said, "You'll need more than paper. You'll need people to stand with you. Truth doesn't win alone." Amarachi nodded. She was gathering an army, slowly, carefully, one piece of evidence at a time. The lies were crumbling, but the liars were still powerful, and they were watching. Days turned into weeks. Amarachi stayed at Ifani's workshop. She helped with small projects, sanding wood, mixing varnish. Her hands grew steady again. One afternoon, Ifani was building a cradle for a charity drive. Amarachi watched him work. His hands moved with patience. "You're good at this," she said. He smiled. "Wood doesn't lie. You sand it, it gets smoother. You care for it, it lasts." Amarachi picked up sandpaper and joined him. They worked in silence. For the first time in weeks, she felt peace. Ifani gave her a small silver pendant. It wasn't romantic, just steady. The word engraved on it, steady. "Keep this," he said. "You're stronger than you think." That evening, Amarachi's phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "I'm a choir girl. Pastor calls girls to his office after rehearsals. Check the intercom logs. You'll find proof." Amarachi's heart raced. If this was true, she wasn't his only victim. She looked at Ifani. "We need to get back into that church." Late that night, Chidera met them at the church's side entrance. The building was dark, empty. The three of them moved quietly through the administrative wing. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Chidera led them to the intercom system. "These logs show every call made from the pastor's office," she whispered. Amarachi scrolled through the dates. Her stomach turned. Dozens of late-night summons. Young women's names. Choir members. Volunteers. Then she saw her own name. 3 days before her wedding. A counseling request she never made. "I didn't ask for this," Amarachi whispered. He logged it himself. Footsteps echoed down the hall. "Security." Chidera grabbed the flash drive. "Run." They bolted through a side stairwell, hearts pounding, shoes slapping concrete. They made it to the parking lot, breathless. Amarachi clutched the flash drive. "He's been doing this for years," she said. Ifani clenched his jaw. "We're going to expose him." Chidera nodded. "But we need more. We need someone brave enough to speak." "Before we continue, I need to ask you something important. If you're enjoying this story right now, then please hit that subscribe button. Because we bring you powerful stories like this every 2 days. Stories that touch your heart, teach you lessons, and keep you on the edge of your seat. YouTube only shows our videos to subscribers first. So if you don't subscribe, you might miss the next incredible story. So go ahead, subscribe now. Your future self will thank you when the next story drops. Now let's continue. Amarachi started watching Pastor Timothy from a distance. She sat in a cafe across from the church. She watched him counsel couples, smile warmly, hug crying women. Staff praised him. "He's so kind," they said. "So humble." But Amarachi saw something else. She saw control, calculation, performance. One afternoon, she watched through the glass door as he finished a session. The couple left smiling. The pastor pulled out his phone and typed quickly. Seconds later, another phone on his desk buzzed. Amarachi couldn't see the full message, but she saw the preview. "Did you delete the counseling request thread?" Another reply came in. "Done." Amarachi's hands shook. He wasn't just hiding things. He was erasing them. She stepped back into the shadows. "You sent the request in my name," she whispered. "You set me up." She pulled out her phone and took a photo through the window. His face. His phone. The message preview. It wasn't much, but it was something. Another thread in the web. Another crack in the mask. Amarachi decided to confront him. Not inside the church. Not in front of cameras. Just the two of them. She waited in the parking lot one evening. The Harmattan breeze was cool. Pastor Timothy walked out, keys jingling. She stepped forward. "Pastor, I need to talk." He turned, smiled warmly. "My daughter, how are you?" His voice was soft. Pastoral. Safe. But his eyes were cold. "I know you lied," Amarachi said. "I have proof. The intercom logs. The clinic records. The audio." The pastor's smile didn't fade. "Be careful, my daughter. Spreading lies about a man of God is dangerous. I could take legal action." Then he leaned closer. "You told me once about your childhood. About your uncle. About the pain you carried." Amarachi froze. She had never told anyone in the church that story. Only in a private file during a counseling intake years ago. "How do you know that?" she whispered. He smiled. I know many things. He tapped her phone pocket. Keep recording. It won't help you. Then he walked away. Amarachi needed to know how deep this went. She went to David's family home. His mother answered the door. Cold. Formal. What do you want? Amarachi asked to speak. Reluctantly, the woman let her in. They sat in a formal sitting room. Ancestral portraits hung on the walls. I gave a large seed to the church, David's mother admitted, to ensure integrity, to protect my son's future. I never asked for a public scene. Amarachi leaned forward. When did you give the seed? The woman hesitated. Amarachi pressed. When? Finally, the woman pulled out a receipt. The seed was paid the night before the wedding. The memo read, Altar honor. Amarachi's blood boiled. You paid him to stop the wedding. The woman looked away. I wanted to protect my son from scandal. Just then David walked in. He saw the receipt in Amarachi's hand. Mum, what did you do? His voice was low. Dangerous. His mother stood quickly. I did what any mother would do. David looked at Amarachi. His face broke. I'm so sorry. Amarachi didn't respond. She walked out. But something shifted inside her. She wasn't fighting alone anymore. She started attending a support circle in Yaba. Women who had faced public shame. Women who had been blamed, judged, cast out. Amarachi shared her story carefully. She didn't name names yet, but she spoke her truth. The women listened. Some cried. Some nodded. One woman, a nurse, said, I used to work at Mercy Life Clinic. I know about the ledger practices. They change records when someone pays them. Amarachi's heart raced. Can you help me? The nurse nodded. There's a basement archive. Unaltered intake forms were dumped there during renovations. If you can get in before Saturday, you'll find the first truth. Amarachi looked at Afani. He nodded. We'll get in. The nurse gave them the security schedule. 1 guard. 1 shift change. 1 chance. Amarachi felt hope rising. She was building a case. Piece by piece. Witness by witness. The truth was underground. Literally. And she was going to dig it up. Saturday night. Ifani and Amarachi parked outside Mercy Life Clinic. The basement entrance was at the back. They waited until the guard made his rounds. Then they slipped inside. The basement was dark. Cold. Dusty boxes stacked high. 1 single bulb hung from the ceiling. They searched quickly. Old files. Old forms. Then Amarachi found it. A box labeled 2022 intake. She tore it open. There it was. Her original intake form. Coded as emergency. Suspected ectopic pregnancy. Signed by the junior registrar. No mention of abortion. Just emergency surgery. Life-saving procedure. Amarachi held it like gold. This is it. Ifani kept searching. He found a binder clip attached to another document. A cash transfer note. From the church's building committee to the clinic's legal desk. Dated 2 days after the ruined wedding. They paid to change your records, Ifani said. Amarachi's hands shook. We have everything. Suddenly the basement door opened. Light flooded in. A guard stood at the top of the stairs. You can't be here. Ifani grabbed the documents. Run. They bolted through a side exit, hearts pounding. They made it to the car. Safe. Breathless. Victorious. Amarachi took everything to a lawyer. A principled attorney in Ikeja. He reviewed the documents carefully. The original intake form. The affidavit. The audio recording. The intercom logs. The cash transfer note. He nodded slowly. This is strong. Very strong. He drafted a formal petition to the church council and a sealed brief to the medical practitioners' tribunal. We'll move carefully, he said. Public silence for now. Let them think you've given up. Amarachi agreed. But within an hour, the lawyer received a threatening email. Anonymous, quoting Bible verses as legal threats. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. The lawyer smiled. Good. Now they're worried. Amarachi felt power returning. Not revenge. Just truth. She wasn't the broken bride anymore. She was the woman with proof. With allies. With a voice. The lawyer said, Be ready. When we move loud. Amarachi nodded. I'm ready. Weeks passed. Then the announcement came. Pastor Timothy's daughter was getting married. A lavish wedding. Wealthy heir. The church was buzzing. Sunday service was packed. The pastor preached about purity. About truth. He pointed at the altar where Amarachi once stood. Let this place remind us, he said, that God sees everything. The congregation cheered. Cameras rolled. The wedding date was set. On the projection screen a glitch happened. An admin window flashed. A folder appeared. Title, Crisis Response. Inside, a subfolder with Amarachi's initials. The video team yanked the feed immediately. But screenshots started circulating. Amarachi saw them online. Her heart raced. People were asking questions. What's in that folder? Why does the church have crisis files? The cracks were showing. The pastor's armor was weakening. Amarachi knew. The wedding was her moment. She had to be there. Not to disrupt, but to reveal. The truth was coming. And it was coming at the altar. Amarachi received a message. From Pastor Timothy's daughter, Tomi. Can we meet? They met in a quiet cafe. Tomi looked nervous, scared, but curious. I know what my father did to you, she said quietly. Amarachi stayed silent. Tomi continued. He scripts everything. Miracles, prophecies, PR campaigns. I've seen the files. She pulled out her phone and showed Amarachi a deleted text. Her father had sent it the morning of Amarachi's wedding. Prepare plan red if she resists. Amarachi's throat tightened. What's plan red? Tomi whispered, public exposure. Character assassination. He had it ready in case you fought back. Amarachi looked at this young woman. Tomi was trapped too. Why are you telling me this? Amarachi asked. Tomi's eyes filled with tears. Because I don't want to lie at my own altar. I don't want to become him. Amarachi reached across the table and held her hand. Then stand with me. Tell the truth. Be brave. Tomi nodded. I will. The night before Tomi's wedding, Amarachi sat in Ifani's workshop. Rain drummed on the roof. She had assembled everything. Original intake forms. Affidavit. Intercom logs. Audio hot mic. Seed receipt. Tomi screenshots. Everything. She prayed. Not for revenge. For courage. For clarity. For strength. Ifani sat beside her. He didn't speak. Just presence. After a long silence, he placed a small wooden box on the table. Inside was a single sentence carved into the wood. Truth first, then everything. Amarachi read it. She nodded. She was ready. Outside, sirens echoed in the distance. The city was restless. Tomorrow the church would be full again. Cameras. Yes. Dignitaries. Pastor Timothy would stand at the altar. He would smile. He would preach. He would bless his daughter. But Amarachi would be there too. Not as the broken bride. As the woman with proof. With truth. With witnesses. Tomorrow the scales would balance. Tomorrow everything would change. She closed her eyes. Steady. Free. Ready. The church was packed again. Chandeliers glowing. Florals everywhere. Cameras lined the aisles. Dignitaries filled the front rows. TV crews set up outside. Tomi walked down the aisle in a stunning gown. Her face was radiant, but pale. Nervous. Her father stood at the altar, Bible open, smiling proudly. The music swelled. Tomi reached the altar. The groom took her hand. Pastor Timothy raised his hands to bless them. Dearly beloved, he began. Then Tomi gasped. Her face went white. She clutched her stomach. Her knees buckled. She collapsed. Screams erupted. Ushers rushed forward. Guests stood. Cameras zoomed in. Pastor Timothy grabbed the microphone. This is a spiritual attack, he shouted. Lock the doors. We must pray. Security moved to block the exits. Panic spread. People pushed. Phones recorded. Then a calm voice rose from the back. Clear. Steady. Open the doors. Let the medics through. Everyone turned. It was Amarachi, standing at the back of the church. Dressed simply. Face peaceful. She walked forward slowly. The crowd parted. Whispers followed her. Isn't that the bride from before? Amarachi walked down the aisle. Not running. Not shouting. Just steady. She reached Tomi, who was gasping on the floor. Amarachi knelt beside her. Turn her on her side, she instructed an usher. Recovery position. Someone call an ambulance. A nurse in the crowd rushed forward. Together they stabilized Tomi. Cameras captured everything. The pastor tried to take control. We are praying over this attack, he said. But Amarachi stood and faced the congregation. Silence fell. Tomi gripped Amarachi's wrist from the floor. Now, she whispered. Tell them now. Amarachi took a deep breath. She pulled the documents from her bag. The original clinic intake. The doctor's affidavit. 2 years ago, she began, I stood at this altar. Pastor Timothy stopped my wedding. He said God revealed that I had an abortion. Gasp. Murmurs. It was a lie. She held up the documents. I had an emergency surgery. Ectopic pregnancy. I almost died. These are the original records. She handed them to the church council members in the front row. They read them. Their faces changed. Shocked. Horrified. A retired doctor stood from the crowd. I examined those records, he said. The clinic altered them. Someone paid to rewrite her file. Gasps filled the church. The clinic matron was sitting near the back. Amarachi pointed to her. She knows. All eyes turned. The matron tried to leave. Security blocked her. Slowly she stood. I was told to change it, she admitted. They paid me. I needed the money. The congregation erupted. Voices shouting. Cameras flashing. Pastor Timothy tried to speak, but Chitara stood up. She held a laptop. I have audio proof, she said. She played the hot mic recording. Pastor Timothy's voice. Say it clean. I will not be questioned. The church went silent. The pastor's face drained of color. Then Temi stood up, shaky but strong. She walked to the microphone. My father scripts miracles, she said. He plans exposures. He controls everything. I have proof. She showed her phone to the council. Screenshots. Text. Files. David's mother rose from her seat. I paid a seed, she confessed. To protect my son. I asked the pastor to stop the wedding if there was scandal. I didn't know he would destroy her. The council members stood. The head elder stepped forward. His voice was firm. Pastor Timothy, step away from the altar. The pastor tried to protest. This is slander. This is an attack from the enemy. But the elder shook his head. No. This is the truth you tried to bury. Pastor Timothy's hands shook. His wife covered her face. Temi stood beside Amarachi, tears streaming. The groom stepped back, confused, heartbroken. David was in the crowd. He pushed through to the front. He stared at the documents. At the affidavit. At the truth he had refused to see. He fell to his knees in front of Amarachi. I'm sorry, he whispered. I should have believed you. I should have fought for you. I was a coward. Amarachi looked down at him. She felt no anger. No bitterness. Just peace. I forgive you, she said quietly. But I will not return to you. David nodded, tears falling. I understand. Amarachi turned and walked toward the exit. The crowd parted again. But this time it felt different. Respectful. Reverent. She had walked in broken. She was walking out free. Morning light poured through the stained glass windows. The church council met in emergency session. Pastor Timothy was suspended immediately. An investigation launched. His credentials under review. The truth was out. The lies exposed. The masks removed. Outside the church, Amarachi stood on the steps. Sun on her face. Eyes closed. A quiet smile. Ifani waited by his workshop pickup truck. Not with a ring. Not with grand promises. Just with the small wooden box. He opened it. Inside was a new pendant. Engraved with one word, free. Amarachi took it. She put it on. She looked back at the church one last time. The altar where she had been humiliated. The altar where truth had finally spoken. She whispered, faith is not a stage. Truth is not a prop. Then she walked down the steps. Into the sunlight. Into her new life. Into freedom. The cameras captured it all. By evening, the video was everywhere. Millions of views. Comments pouring in. She stood for truth. She won without revenge. This is real strength. Amarachi didn't watch the videos. She was already home. Already healing. Already free. Some altars are built on marble. Others on fear. Only the ones built on truth can hold a marriage. The end. What lesson did you learn from this story? Do you believe in divine justice like this? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe.